Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and yes, we are talking about Ben Hardy luck because the Ford Bronco Raptor, before it even reached 1,000 miles, broke down. That is just the luck that I have. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So even though I have the hood popped on the Bronco Raptor right now, the Bronco Raptor is actually already fixed. This issue happened during the week, but I did take a video of what the Bronco Raptor is doing, so I'll include a clip of that right now. And now that you guys have seen that clip, this is why we have the hood opened. Basically what was happening is the Bronco Raptor had a bad battery. It wasn't because it got too cold and I left the lights on or something like that and the battery died. No, the Bronco Raptor just had a bad battery. Now I might be off a little bit on my figures, but I think the dealership said that this battery is supposed to be putting out like 800 volts and it was only testing for 200. And so yeah, it was just a bad battery from the factory. And I've talked to some people that have Gen 3 Raptors, then also new Broncos, and they've told me they've had the exact same issue where, yeah, bad battery, which I guess this kind of leads us into another topic. But first off, of course, we gotta close that. Okay, so we'll pop into the Bronco Raptor here to prove that everything's up and running. And here we go. I think I have my music on, so we gotta make sure that's turned off. Look at that, starts right up. Just like the champ that it is. Oh, and I guess we gotta confirm that there are no flashing lights on the dash or anything. Just the 4-wheel auto light, because we've got 4-wheel auto on. And so yeah, I mean, the Bronco's driving great. I guess that we'll go on a little bit of a drive here. Safety first though, of course. Always gotta put on the seatbelt, which apparently I am struggling with. It's because I'm not used to holding a camera. I haven't done a vlog type video in such a long time that I have forgotten to hold a camera. Something that's really fun about the Bronco Raptor, by the way, is the fact that it has so much suspension travel that you can literally just like drive this over curbs. The reason why I found that out is pulling it onto my front yard. Normally, like when I pull a vehicle onto the front yard, I kind of just like slightly drive over the curb, right, at a slow speed, if that makes sense. With the Bronco Raptor, I was going full speed, just turned up and then just went over and boom. If you guys are wondering, I'm waiting because my neighbor has a tractor. He actually plows the roads for us. I don't know if it's the state or the city that does the plowing for our neighborhood, but they don't plow it enough. Basically all that they do is they just plow the center section and then the sides of the roads are just filled with snow. I mean, you guys can probably kind of, well, he's cleared it out now, but you can see there's still a little bit left over there with the neighbor's house. And so he just comes out, he's got this huge tractor and he plows it for us. Super grateful for that. But yeah, it's just a kind of a weird thing where they don't plow. I don't know, let me know if you guys have that similar situation where like they just partially plow your road. Okay, so outside of talking about snow removal, which I don't know why that's even in this video, but you know what? Again, I haven't done one of these vlog type videos in a while, so we're just gonna go with it. I want to talk about my thoughts on the Bronco Raptor after everything that happened, why I think what happened, because it's not just a Bronco Raptor thing. I've noticed it happening on a lot of other vehicles, newer vehicles. And so yeah, let's kind of dive into it. Let's start with the latter thing, why I think it happened. So I have noticed this trend where modern vehicles have had a lot of failures, and it doesn't seem like it's because of engineering, because it's not like every single vehicle fails. It's like certain parts on vehicles will fail, and I talk to so many different dealerships about this situation, different brands, and the thing that I keep hearing from dealers is that they just have bad parts. This is what they're experiencing, is basically, you know, the engineering team for the vehicles, they do their job, right? It's like that meme where it's like, I'm doing my job, and then the guy comes up and he goes, I'm not gonna say it, but he's like, I'm not doing crap, basically. And that's what it seems like with these cars, is like the engineering team, they do their job, right? The manufacturer, they do their job with, you know, making sure all the parts get put together and all that kind of stuff. And then the parts suppliers that the manufacturer gets the parts from, that seems like that's where the disconnect is, because it's like the car will be engineered how it's supposed to be engineered, like all of that's good, and then it just like parts fail on it. That's at least what I've been noticing, and that's what dealers have been telling me. And it's a big problem, and it's kind of like, you know, how do you fix it, right? There's obviously the Tesla answer where it's like, let's just build everything in-house. We'll source everything ourselves. And you know, there's definitely truth to that working. But at the same time, it's like that's not feasible for every single manufacturer just because of the cost associated with bringing everything in-house. And quick side tangent, while we're talking about Bronco stuff, 14.7 miles per gallon is my average fuel economy. Right now you guys can see the trip computer with 1,000 miles. And I will say that is slightly disappointing. I understand the Bronco Raptor has 37s. I understand it has a 4.7 axle ratio, but you guys know I also own a Wrangler 392 that has 35s, a 4.56 axle ratio. So not exactly the same setup, but close enough. It's got a V8. I get like 16, 17 miles per gallon in the Wrangler. So like getting less than 15 miles per gallon in a vehicle with a V6, I don't know. Again, this is like completely unrelated, but it just continues to lead to my disappointment in these smaller displacement engines in vehicles, because it's like, yeah, it has the same power as the big V8, but it's not more economical than the big V8. Like, I understand that with a smaller engine, the tailpipe emissions are going to be less on a per mile basis. But the thing is, if you're burning through, like, again, like this is not scientific at all, but like my thought is, if you're burning through more gas, so your worse fuel economy, then yeah, even though the per mile tailpipe emission might be less, you're going through more gas in total. So then I feel like it just evens it out. I feel like it doesn't actually make these more economical. I mean, again, that's just kind of my thought on that. And again, I've just noticed this so much, like the V8 vehicles that I've owned, they've almost always been more economical than the turbo V6 vehicles that I've owned. And don't get me wrong, I like a turbo V6. I think it drives well and all of that, but yeah, it's just kind of something that I've noticed, and hopefully the Bronco Raptor fuel economy improves, we'll see. But if it doesn't, I think that's kind of like a downside with the Bronco Raptor, because it's like, why don't you just put a V8 in it, Ford? Like, this is not a mass-produced vehicle. It's not really affecting their fuel economy bottom line, if that makes sense. So it's like, just make it make it more exciting. So let's pull everything together with today's video and yeah, give my honest thoughts on the Bronco Raptor after having this for about 1,000 miles, and then yeah, the whole battery situation and kind of how that makes me feel, because it is a little bit disheartening, that's the truth. So I waited about 2 years for this, between the Bronco Raptor being announced and then me being picked allocation-wise. I had to wait over a year to actually be able to get an allocation. So yeah, it was a decent wait, but for a more specialty vehicle, like that's the expectation. If you expect to be able, like if a specialty vehicle is released and you expect to get it right off the bat, well, you probably should also expect to pay a big price premium, because that's just the reality with that. But also expect that's just not usually realistic with these types of vehicles. So yeah, I mean, I think it was worth the wait. I love the Bronco Raptor. I've talked about this, like so far, you know, while it's been working, it's such a great vehicle. It's got better insulation than the Jeep. It's still loud though. Like, understand that you can take apart the vehicle, right? Because it's like a Jeep-like vehicle. And so you're going to get more wind noise on the highway. It's not going to be as, you know, cozy, I guess, as a regular car, but it is better than a Wrangler when it comes to daily driving. And the thing that, again, the suspension, I love that with the Raptors. Like, you can drive over anything and it does not care. It's so fun. It makes daily driving fun because, like, I don't know, I had a situation where, I'm not going to say where this happened, but basically there was this like traffic situation where these people decided to just stop in the middle of the road for no reason. They didn't get into an accident. They were just stopped in the middle of the road. And so I just kind of drove over this median thing, not going to say where, but you can do that in a Raptor, and it doesn't care. It's got the suspension, it's got the tires for it. So great daily driver so far. But yeah, in terms of my feelings on the Bronco Raptor, again, it is disheartening with the whole, again, it's just one thing, it's a battery situation, but like my mind is now in the place of, is there something else that's going to break now? Like, is it just the battery, or is something else going to fail? And am I going to have to keep taking this in? Because even though it's covered under warranty, which I really appreciate, manufacturer warranties, saves us a lot of money. Again, it's still disheartening because it's like, with the Bronco Raptor, it put us in a situation where my wife couldn't go and do the things she needed to do because she didn't have, because I had to take her car to work, basically, because the Bronco Raptor, yeah, wasn't working. So, you know, obviously a bit of an inconvenience from that perspective. Not the worst inconvenience on the planet, though. So we'll see what happens. I hope that this is just bad luck that I always have with every single car where something breaks in the first 1,000 miles. Outside of the Toyota 4Runner, that was the only vehicle that didn't break in. Yes, I do think about buying another 4Runner all the time because I don't know, maybe I'm getting old, maybe it's because I'm a parent now. I just care about reliability. Like, I do want a vehicle to be off-road capable because I am an off-road enthusiast, but also that's all I think about now is I'm like, I want to just be able to get in my vehicle and it turns on every single time and I can go from A to B and back to A. Yeah, I'm turning into a boring person, and that's why I don't do vlogs anymore. That's why I just review cars. I'll see ya.